A group of kids are hanging out at a park in New York when a much older man strolls through their group no less than 3 times. In his left hand is what appears to be some kind of small bag with a tightly wrapped camera lens sticking out the middle. The camera is held low and pointed at the teens as he walks by, and I could be wrong, but it looks like he might be trying to stare at someone out of the corner of his eye without alerting their suspicions. Finally, after standing in the middle of the crowd without moving for over 30 seconds, one of the teens calls him out for his allegedly shady behavior. Watch how quickly he bolts and tell me if you think he was up to something no good.
No, you're really awkward. I have to know that.
This video is undoubtedly real, and all we can do is hope this man was eventually brought to justice. Wreckful is a streamer and YouTuber, and in this video, he is live streaming in the streets of Japan. It's late at night and the streets are almost completely deserted. Wreckful soon notices that he is being followed by a man wearing a surgical mask.
Wait, I'm on follow. I'm gonna flip the camera.
Wreckful begins to look genuinely afraid as he stops himself from panicking. He ultimately decides to run when he turns the corner.
I'm running.
He eventually stops and confronts this potential stalker. It turns out this man is a fan of Wreckful and was wanting to scare him as a joke. Wreckful is still clearly shaken up from the incident while talking to his follower and his friend. Well, it turns out Wreckful was in no danger. The confusion of being followed by a stranger is certainly frightening. Kevin Ramos is holding a paranormal investigation session at the Fort Delaware, which was in use from the mid-1800s to the mid-1900s, and is said to be ripe with spiritual activity even after being decommissioned well over 50 years ago. After a day of walking, they stop and ask a few questions to the spirits upon nightfall. Look what happens when they try to get to know more about the ghost of a person stationed here.
Did you like him? Can you cross the rod if you liked him?
First, a white apparition passes by, followed by a black shadow that one of them actually catches out of the corner of their eye. This isn't their reflection in the window, because none of them are walking, and in this exact moment, this person thinks they feel a tap on their shoulder and shine a light behind them to make sure. It definitely looks like something was near them, to say the very least. Why she didn't say something as soon as it happened is something I don't know. I guess they were too scared at the time. A YouTuber named Hunting the Dead dares to play with a Ouija board inside of his own home. Aside from using the board itself, he also has a ghost hunting device which scans different frequencies for any signs of the paranormal. He begins asking questions out loud, and it isn't long before he gets a fairly clear response.
Is there evil in this home?
The spirit then begins highlighting the same number 3 times in a row.
6. Holy shit, 6.
Hunting the Dead soon finds out exactly who the spirit is and what it wants.
Zozo, do you want to attack me? Whoa. It's on yes, it went off.
Shortly afterwards, Hunting the Dead begins to feel gravely ill and needs to go to the hospital. This doll is supposed to cry and crawl by itself, but it's not supposed to contort itself into bone-breaking positions while doing so.
Its legs! And they're like the same foot legs! Aren't they? Oh man, that's bad.
The crying piece of plastic continues to pop its limbs out of place when a stunned family records in amazement. Some commenters are sure that this strange display is an early warning sign from malevolent spirits. I personally am curious if this YouTuber experienced any other strange events after this happened. If you have any more information about this video, or if this is some kind of common defect with this type of doll, then I would definitely like to know about it. In this list, we've seen helicopters land in pools, so why wouldn't we see land roving vehicles? This video clip features an SUV that took a wrong turn and ended up in the swimming pool at Sea Country Apartments in Las Flores, California. Published in June 2016 by Right This Minute. The video description of this incident states, John Reed, a former Marine who saw the incident, helped the elderly female driver and her husband to get out of the car safely. The husband was experiencing chest pains after the incident and was taken to the hospital. The female driver was elderly, and substances were ruled out as causes for the wrong turn. Reed, who lived nearby, was on a conference call inside his home when he happened to capture the vehicle, nose deep in water. After he heard the commotion, the elderly couple could not get out of the vehicle from their front seats, but the former Marine managed to pry the back door open. As the vehicle's back end was still far enough up in the air to do it, he then helped them exit the vehicle. The driver had drove straight through a fence and into the pool, failing to follow a curve in the road. Thankfully, there was no one in the pool at the time, or this incident could have resulted in fatalities. If there's one thing we've learned from this event, it's time to hide Grandma's car keys. These friends are hanging out at the end of a cul-de-sac when one of them, named Robert, loses his skateboard down a deep sewer grate. Most skaters would probably call it quits then and there, but Robert forces his way through the grate and soon becomes just as stuck as his board. They all laugh and make jokes as they wait for rescue workers to arrive, but as you can see by this nervous nail biting, the situation is much more serious than anyone is letting on. Firefighters are unable to pry open a nearby manhole cover. Thinking fast, they send a line down for Robert to grab and eventually fish him out that way. After the whole ordeal is over, one of the men explains that Robert is lucky to still be alive.
You know what's down there?
Not really, probably a lot of diseases.
Yeah, well, not only that, but there could be like chemicals that could kill you like that, dude. It's a sewer. You know what I'm saying?
This calm and professional explanation will hopefully make Robert think twice if this ever happens again. What presence is roaming around Donna Mary's house? Published by Chris L. Luna in April of 2022, the ghost hunter captures the spirit blowing onto the scene as a seance is being done. The spirit then directly falls over those present, including the seer.
Me conduces, me infundes nuevas fuerzas. Me guías por sendas de justicia, por amor a su nombre. Amor a su nombre, aun si yo voy por valles tenebrosos.
A presence is again sensed in the background, in what is either a window or a mirror. Something again passes by a window. As they communicate with the ghost, this appearance is more clearly visible. Do you think this is Donna Mary herself, or is some darker evil present?
Observen. Se debe de mover a fuerzas. Solo hay una allá enfrente. Solo hay una allá enfrente.
What's scarier than being home alone when you think you are, but you're actually not? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Amy Dancing Again, the Redditor explains that she was home alone and making a TikTok video when she started hearing noises. She writes, I heard banging noises from the spare room we use for storage. No one else was home and there seems to also be a weird humming noise. The clip appears to be taken in Amy's room. Although faint, you can hear knocking and banging noises in the background. The strange humming sound could be a car passing or some sort of vehicular noise, but as for the banging, who knows? Can you hear that? Amy asks. Yes, Amy, we can. Time to take a leaf out of Macaulay Culkin's book and start setting up some booby traps. A few days ago, strange sounds started coming from an old shower stall in this house that Alejandro has not used in years. He wasn't sure if it was rats or something, so he went up there with a camera, and this scary sighting is what's been caught on video. "20 seconds after showing us nothing was in the shower, this ghostly figure presses against the glass, flies upwards and disappears. This almost has to be CGI because there are absolutely no editing cuts, and the way they fade away doesn't look like somebody simply stepping away from the glass. He reinvestigates and the shower is just as empty as before. Will fish soon walk on land? It looks like one's already there." Published to the oddly terrifying subreddit, Redditor Big Black Onyx writes the cryptic message, "They are evolving." The mysterious video shows a large fish on a slab of snowy ice jutting into the water. The oddly terrifying fish appears to be standing up on its fins, taking in great gulps of air. Many have reacted to the walking fish, which has become the subject of numerous memes. Originally appearing in iFunny, posted by user Psyche Gamburger in December of 2019, the video has been viewed, liked, and tweeted millions of times, and that's perhaps due to its unnerving nature. Redditor's sci-fi ship controller remarks, "Not sure what is more unsettling, that it stands or that it breathes." A YouTuber named Jamie Sinclair is hanging out with her friend and her dog when she records some weird things. She looks up to see a swing set is moving on its own. As she gets closer, we can notice some things that make this unexplained video even more mysterious. Okay, so the obvious answer is that it's the wind, right? Wrong. Look at this rope next to it, stationary. Are you meaning to tell me that the wind is strong enough to push this swing but not move this rope? I don't think so. Footprints are all around the swing, so I'm not acting like her friend couldn't have pushed it and then acted surprised, but the point is there's no way to tell for sure, and even the smallest chance of paranormal activity is still creepy to think about. A kid is reading something off a website when his friend says something that makes him pause. Tell me what is being said here if you can.
Una bomba que puede explotar en cualquier momento.
A wild face at the window sends him sprawling backwards in his chair with fright. There's no playing that scream off. He was seriously afraid for his life. He must not have seen the camera hidden in his friend's lap, and he never expected one of his other friends to jump at him from the window with a crazy look in his eye. But at least he saves a little bit of face by regaining his composure quickly and laughing along with them. Still, nevertheless, having someone peeking through your bedroom window is certainly a nightmare. Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay, guys. So.
A small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat. Or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. Exploring with Danny is back, this time at an abandoned building rumored to have strange lights and other happenings. Within minutes of entering, they hear a humming noise that briefly morphs into strange piano music coming from the basement.
Can you hear that?
As they round a corner, they find candles are placed in a circle. A woman with a pale face and long black hair turns to them, but I'm not exactly buying it. I mean, her shoes kind of look normal to me, so this could just be a regular person dressed up. Still, the way she continues to chase after them makes me wonder if she's a crazy person, or if I'm wrong about her being a ghost completely. But skid or not, there really might be something lurking down there with them. Everyone is lurking at the corner on the left at the 7-minute mark, but what I want to know is what's up with the two different colored eyes in the back. Perhaps something was watching them this whole time. This haunted mansion isn't a Disney theme park ride. It's the real deal. On the Chills Narrator subreddit, Be More Talk submitted this freaky video in July of 2019 writing, "This video was made while it was 115 degrees out, and I say this because while we were filming, we noticed that someone was in the top floor of this 42-room mansion that was built in the 1800s. The Uplands mansion appears to be rather decrepit and is buried in nature. Lots of trees around and ivy growing up the mansion walls. Perfect scene for a ghost sighting." The video navigates the overgrown shrubbery surrounding the exterior of the mansion, some of which is covered with graffiti. At one point, as the YouTuber notes, there appears to be someone in the upper window. The YouTuber says someone keeps poking their head in and out of the window, but the visual is not clear. Whatever it is, it's enough to keep them out of that mansion, at least for now. A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. Paranormal investigations can be a scary experience in a group, so imagine conducting one all by yourself. The Spectral Researchers of Central Florida is a group dedicated to investigating alleged paranormal activity from across the state. Aside from doing the normal group investigations, members have also gone to locations alone to explore and potentially collect evidence. This is a method often done by paranormal researchers and is therefore more susceptible to encounters. On February 21st, 2021, member Robert ventured to the Hall House, a former assisted living facility. With the help of a Kinect, he ventures through the building hoping the infrared dots on the device will help pick up any unseen entities. 3 minutes into the investigation, Robert captures a thump coming from behind him.
I just heard some big loud thump.
While it could easily be the sound of Robert walking, he has been walking around frequently throughout the video, and not once do his footsteps make a sound resembling such a noise. In fact, they are practically silent. Later, while in another room, Robert accidentally walks into something protruding from the wall. This is understandable as it was pitch black in the house, but what is strange is if you listen closely, you can hear someone whisper what sounds like toe. The voice sounds too high to be Robert's, and it doesn't appear to be his breathing, as the voice can be heard happening at the same time Robert is exhaling. Just before the 6-minute mark, he enters a room and asks whose room it was. Well, it is rather faint, an answer comes sounding along the lines of mine.
Again, are you a former resident?
Could whoever used to reside there be confirming it was they who lived there? One possible creepy moment happens when Robert is standing in another room, looking out into the hallway. Several green lights are projecting from a device on the floor to both help Robert see the walls in the dark and potentially capture any entities which might block out some of the beams. As he looks into the hall, it looks as if there is a figure standing at the opposite end. The figure appears to be wearing some sort of gown, which would make sense as this might have been the garments worn by a former resident. Robert doesn't appear to see the figure, possibly because of how dark the room was, and the apparition may have been more visible in the camera's night vision. It can be seen at several other instances when Robert looks down the hallway until it completely vanishes. Close to the halfway point of the investigation, Robert's camera appears to have a malfunction. Without explanation, the focus suddenly becomes fuzzy. Robert notices this and wonders if he accidentally zoomed in. However, us viewers can clearly see he did no such thing, and the vision blurred randomly as he panned over. Ghosts have been known to cause technical faults in electrical equipment, a phenomenon explained as entities drawing energy from the various devices investigators use. This can cause batteries to rapidly drain, lights to flicker, and even equipment to break. Luckily, the picture corrected itself after a minute. The picture returned to normal just as quickly as it had malfunctioned. One commenter points out they heard what they believe sounded like a woman saying, "I see nothing but the darkness as we move." Upon investigation, we could not hear what sounded like a woman speaking, but what it does sound like is the shuffling of feet and even a faint step. Robert is standing still at the time, so it is not him. Have a listen for yourself and see if you can hear the voice. The most compelling evidence comes when Robert can sense someone in the corner of the room. When he points to connect there, the device projects a figure seated, facing towards him.
Hello? Would you be able to tell me your name?
The figure even appears to brace itself against the wall to stand. When Robert asks for a name, the figure appears to either wave or gesture to something. It is difficult to determine which. Robert's investigation of the building definitely paid off with this discovery, and we are hoping the team returns to the location in the future. While not full of activity, there was certainly enough to determine something has remained long after the doors were closed for good. Alcatraz. A man is walking around the infamous Alcatraz when he picks up two possible paranormal encounters. I'll start with the weirdest one first. He is inspecting a row of holding cells when a loud voice seems to call out to him with a single question. It sounds to me as if the deep voice is asking one simple word: why? The second possible encounter occurs as he is entering another part of the prison. Listen to this strange and haunting laugh. This one has a fairly reasonable explanation. Alcatraz is on an island, so maybe this was a bird call echoing off the prison's walls. I can't tell for sure, so let me know what you think about these two events. Three friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please. Come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. A YouTuber named Jake Carlini and his friends all want to experience creepy Randonautica moments, so they summon the scariest thing that comes to mind, forest clowns.
We're all gonna think about clowns.
The app takes them randonauting to a scary location in the woods that creeps them out even in broad daylight. A bird calls overhead, but listen closely, and you'll hear creepy noises coming from deeper in the woods.
Do you guys hear that?
Circus music, to be precise.
I hear circus music.
Oh my god.
It's not like an ice cream truck would be driving out here, so there's no reason for scary sounds to be playing in the middle of the woods. They leave before they can get a clown sighting on video, but maybe they'll go exploring there again one day.
I'm so startled right now. I think I may have stumbled across.
While alone in the woods, a YouTuber named Christina Roberts sets her sights on 2 mysterious creatures she has never seen before. They look to be covered in fur and appear to walk upright as they spread out to cover more ground. At 30 seconds, one turns to reveal a broad, hairy back and may even be carrying one of its offspring. The 2 creatures are caught on Christina's camera, but they don't detect her because she is wearing camouflage and quietly whispering to herself out of view. They sit down in a clearing and she uses the opportunity to sneak away. I personally think creatures look to be about normal size and could just be people in gorilla suits. Hundreds of people have left comments agreeing that this is one of the scariest forest creature videos they've ever seen. So I guess I could be wrong. Tell me what you see. What happened at the Mount Morris Mystery House in Pennsylvania? The homeowners reached out to Spirit Walk Paranormal after a spirit claimed they'd find human remains on the property, and they did soon find something.
What looks to be a canvas style material that has deteriorated over time.
Is it a body? Yes, but it's not what you think.
And that still doesn't make any sense.
No.
It had some sharp teeth.
You think?
The mystery continues as they use dowsing rods to speak with the spirits.
Do you know that I'm recording you on video right now? Can you point them to Farrah's right? Is there someone else buried in the yard here?
Finally, they ask the spirit to point them in the right direction.
Where should we go? I just want to make a note that only the one rod has moved.
This is almost like a treasure hunt. X marks the spot.
Okay. If that's where Tyler just marked, make an X if that's where it needs to be.
Now it's time to start digging.
Yeah, I went to this because look.
Mm-hmm.
It's glass.
I hit roots.
They get nearer. Although they don't find the bodies they were looking for, they do find something else.
So we just found a hand grip from a revolver. Now it is made of plastic, so it suggests that it is newer.
Do you think it's relevant? Or are there more secrets on this property? If something falls from above, The universe may be trying to tell you something. Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by MD Vines Official. This will leave you shaking. Out in the jungle at night, a group is discussing something while standing outside of this obscure structure. The moon is full above. They start to see a small point of light blinking in the darkness. They follow it as it moves. Then all of a sudden something heavy like a brick falls from above. The group starts running like mad. What just tried to take their lives? Whatever it is, the creature is vengeful. They better watch their step. This YouTube channel is dedicated to finding a local legend known only as the Clover forest creature. Two friends are investigating an area of the woods where the last sighting was reported when they detect what appears to be a pair of eyes staring at them from across a creek.
Whoa, get down! Oh my god, that's it. I think so.
At first I thought this could just be one of their friends wearing a mask with glowing red eyes, but watch this next part and tell me what you think. The eyes briefly go away and then reappear, which makes me think that this creature is blinking.
No, keep your light on it, keep your light on it.
Soon the Clover forest creature walks away and is not seen again. It's too bad that they didn't have a high beam flashlight to shine across the creek and solve the mystery once and for all. Still, tell me whether you think this video is scripted or real based on the 11 seconds of video I was able to show. Question: what's scarier than a theater at night? Answer: a haunted one. Published to TikTok, this appears to show the phantom caretaker of a haunted theater. Jay says the theater is supposed to be empty, but he keeps hearing a noise, so he's searching the theater to find its source.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and been hearing a noise. It's a really beautiful theater, as you can see, if you can see it at all. But I keep hearing a noise in here and there's not supposed to be anybody here, so...
Suddenly, he glimpses something in an upper theater box. He can't quite capture what it is, but after backing up a bit and zooming in, he manages to focus on this. It looks like the ghostly figure of a little boy dressed in a suit. Although the image is blurry, the scary figure is distinctly there, leering out from a theater box. Phantom of the Opera? An intruder? Maybe he's just a ghost fanboy waiting patiently for the play to start. Gabby and Amy are TikToking at their university, but the extra eerie all-white figure behind them steals the spotlight. I don't know if this is a guy creeping on them or what, but it doesn't move at all the whole time and looks really tall, coming up about halfway to the door behind. This could also be a statue, but it looks out of place and barely there, like it could vanish at any moment. A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Makanda, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. Live TV caught the earth-trembling tsunami that smashed into Japan. After a magnitude 9 quake on March 11, 2011, the images that followed are pretty terrifying. The earthquake was so powerful that it was felt everywhere, from the fjords in Norway to the ice sheet of Antarctica. It was so powerful that it redistributed the Earth's mass and shifted it on its axis. Our day's length has been cut short by a microsecond. It was so powerful that Honshu, Japan's main island, was moved about 8 feet east, and as the tsunami traversed the Pacific, 110,000 nesting seabirds were taken out by the 5-foot wave. It was so powerful that aftershocks continued to hit Japan during the year that followed, 5,000 to be exact. It was so powerful that 6 years later, and the tsunami's devastation is still being dealt with in Japan, where of the 150,000 evacuees still left, whose homes were lost to the quake, a third are still in temporary housing. As for the cost of damages in US dollars, It rang in at about 199 billion, but because the earthquake was followed up by the tsunami, and both were unexpected, the 2-in-1 had devastating results. It got worse. A cooling system failure resulted from the tsunami at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, releasing radioactive materials. A horrible event in and of itself. Told you, nature can be terrifying. A YouTuber named Leo Tran is challenged to throw a plastic bottle cap into a trash bag from across the room. At 1 minute into the video, you can see something is out of the ordinary, but at 1 minute and 23 seconds, you can see a small face pop up in the window. The small face stays in the window for approximately 33 seconds and ducks out of the way when Leo goes to collect the trash bag. Does this look real or edited to you? Britton Smith is hanging around her dorm room when she notices something is apparently laying in bed with her. An invisible force appears to be pressing up and down on the flowery design of her covers, right before her very eyes. I will admit that it's hard to tell if something is on top of the covers or simply underneath, in which case it could be anything and not necessarily paranormal. Britton Smith describes this as a ghost in her dorm room, but I'd like to know if you agree with her or not. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell, who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker. Then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. If you are a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door, having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway, while well water floods the floor. A human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no. No.
Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
Oh. What? What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really? What's that? The shh. Somebody just shushed us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. A paranormal YouTube channel called Explore With Us goes ghost hunting after their subscribers told them to go back and investigate more at 3 a.m. The first time they saw mysterious lights, but this time they catch even more bizarre things on video. In the 1970s, a woman named Nan Dixon mysteriously disappeared somewhere around this unassuming Nevada countryside. It isn't long until they see what could be headlights, and the locals are not friendly, so it's time to get out quick. The strange lights mysteriously disappear soon enough, however, so maybe it really was just a passing car. As he drives up to one of the abandoned houses that the ghost of Nan Dixon is thought to haunt, he thinks they see a solid black ghost orb at 8 minutes, which would be beyond creepy to see, except I'm pretty sure it's just a smudge on their car windshield. With that said, I'm not sure what this strange 3 a.m. sighting could be, except for a phantom face slowly slinking away in the dark room. The battery to some of their camera equipment goes out after this strange sighting, and 2 mysterious lights are caught on tape as well, almost like spaced apart eyes under the shelf. Soon their paranormal equipment begins to flash with supernatural energy, and the mysterious lights return stronger than ever before. They see another strange and mysterious flash of light that cannot be explained, and even when they go exploring a different abandoned house that's driving distance away, strange paranormal lights seem to follow. In this quick clip, a group of kids are playing soccer when a strange and mysterious creature decides to crash their game. Watch closely as a black object approaches them from the right. The poor quality of this video makes it hard to tell exactly what this creature is. It's very small, and the way it shuffles side to side does not look natural at all. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to make out a face or even any limbs. It could be a wild animal, but the way that the children and even the dog all run away in absolute horror has many people convinced that this creature could be paranormal or even extraterrestrial. Even when you slow down the video and zoom in on the creature, it's hard to tell what it could be. I personally have no idea what it is, and I definitely like to read your best guess in the comments below. Michael Pomeroy owns a shop in Plymouth, England, called Something Different, and in this shop is a tall Mickey Mouse doll that is quite different indeed. Michael opens the shop one day to find Mickey Mouse laying face down well over a foot away from its usual spot in a corner. When Michael checks the camera, he is surprised to find the haunted Mickey Mouse toy literally moving on its own. At first I thought it was thrown by someone off camera, but here you can see how it clearly takes a few running steps forward before collapsing. Let me know if you can see it. I have no idea how this could have been faked besides computer effects, but the way the doll moves looks very real to me. Adam McIntyre travels from Ireland to London to investigate the Woodrow High House, a house said to be haunted by the grieving ghost of a widow named Lady Helena Stanhope, who has been endlessly roaming these hallways since the 1600s. Adam and his ghost hunting pals think they encounter the spirit lady haunting this hallway, and I think they could be right.
And immediately the door starts like opening and closing.
Yeah. No, I'm actually scared.
Wait. There's literally no draft here. Wait. I don't like it. Don't scream. Oh my god.
Adam is freaking out because a ghost is slamming doors in the same hallway where he will be spending the night. He mentions Helena nicely by name, treating her like a person rather than a sideshow attraction.
This is my bedroom corridor, so I don't want her, like, Helena.
And Helena the ghost responds by closing the door gently instead of slamming it shut like before. The three of them are really scared, so they don't go right away, but they do briefly explore the room from the door, and I don't see anyone standing there. As they stand breathlessly outside, it becomes more than apparent that an apparition does not want to let them in. Finally, the nervous trio works up the courage to enter the haunted room and conduct a little paranormal experiment of their own for more evidence. They lock the door to prove that it really is slamming the door and not a draft. After a while,
like proper lock it. Oh Ooh, is it the wind, Caitlin? Is it the wind?
Unfortunately, Adam's head is blocking the lock when it happens, so we never get to see how the ghost manages to open the door, or if it was one of them all along. Don't leave your fun up to an app. It might take you on a journey to your demise. Published to TikTok by Stephen Donovan, he explains that he was using the Randonautica app to direct him on a random adventure. For those who are unfamiliar with Randonautica, the app delivers a set of local coordinates supplied by a quantum random number generator. In doing so, users are encouraged to explore the unexpected. Steven's coordinates certainly delivered. Here's what happened. Randonautica sent these two on a dirt road through an abandoned ghost town. Creepy mannequins are standing in the windows of the empty wooden buildings. The mountain roads take them past empty cars parked on the shoulder. However, no one appears to be in the area. They pass a sign that reads private property, but they ignore it and continue up the steep, narrow road. It's getting dark and they are now on foot. The pin is pulled up and they are getting close to their destination. That's when they see it.
But we had the pin pulled up. We were so close to it. And this happened. I don't know how to explain this.
Something rolls down the hill from a broken structure, and in that structure they see what looks like a melted face. They take this as their cue to leave. TikToker Rachel Chun surmises, watch those cars be the ones left behind by the randonauts that never left. Steven notes that he deleted the app after this misadventure. After this, can you blame him? A YouTuber named Lou Rock is live streaming from a supposedly haunted location known only as the Yellow House. He and his friend are cautiously poking around the abandoned building when a faint noise sends them running directly into a large room to investigate. The room is bare except for an inordinate number of gnarled clothes hangers in the closet, which begin twisting in unison, almost as if in acknowledgement of their presence.
There's not a window open in here. Wow.
This is on live stream, so you can see for yourself at no point did they touch the hangers. I think the hangers really are being moved by an unseen force based on what I'm about to show you next. As you can see from this video, there is no wind moving the blinds or curtains at all, so it couldn't have been a draft moving the hangers. They continue to find more weird miscellaneous objects scattered around the house, including a rope tied to a ripped kid's shoe.
It looks like somebody was hung up by their feet.
Giant holes have been punched into the wall of this room, either from destructive teens or from the previous house owner during an aggressive fit of rage. Just as they are sensing something deeply wrong with the kitchen, something brings them back into the room with blown out walls.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
They are genuinely creeped out by now and don't make it much further before the sound returns again.
Alright, we're out of here.
At this point, Lou Rock wisely decides to leave before he becomes the Yellow House's next permanent resident. The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride." Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go. As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my God. What was that?
When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
Is that doctor?
That was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center. asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out. You hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
Oh, God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here?
I love waking up now on Saturdays and being able to enjoy my family. We never have to.
This video of the Watts family goes from heartwarming to horrifying. When you hear the terrible backstory, Shannon Watts talks about how happy she is while her husband Chris sits on the other side of the room, his back turned. Chris doesn't say hello or even move during this part. His mannerisms are very stiff and distant. He doesn't even seem to be looking at his kids.
Bella, say hi. Bella, say hi.
Sometime after this video was taken, Shannon and Chris got into a giant argument and he took her life. He gathered both of his daughters and took them, along with his wife's body, to his place of work, while he buried his wife while they watched. Going back to the happy home video and listening to his children cry for their dad is sickening. You want to somehow save them, but there's nothing that you or anyone else can do.
And we're super excited. Bella, come here for a second, baby.
Sadly, after they were done witnessing the burial of their mother, Chris took their lives next. For this, he was sentenced to life behind bars without parole. Steer clear of this swampland. It is home to prehistoric reptiles. Published by MD Starbeast in May of 2022. The YouTuber is wondering what this creature is. Surrounded by lily pads, a snake-like head protrudes from the swampland. It's very still but seems to be rising up out of the water.
Come.
Is it an eel of some kind? Some obscure reptile? A water dragon? What is your theory? This deer is eating some corn when suddenly it looks up as if something is approaching. The camera jumps ahead and barely manages to catch this strange fleeting movement on the right side of the screen. The shadowy figure has everyone talking about the possibility of Slenderman, who apparently has been rumored to be in this forest for years. It kind of looks like it might be wearing a business suit and has an all-white head completely devoid of all features, but it's hard to tell for sure. Have you ever got the feeling that you're being followed? Poppy's Paradise posted this footage to Reddit writing, "Something is following me." The guy in the clip says he was driving when he noticed something outside in the darkness. He stopped his car on the side of the road to film whatever it is, and he shouts a greeting to the figure outside the window.
There's something up here. Hello?
As he drives slowly past, the something that he saw following him comes into view. The figure looks like a girl straight out of The Ring, dressed in white with long black hair. The ghastly creature is seen only for a moment before the clip ends. Is this thing truly following him? We can only hope this was his only sighting. You would need serious courage to stay calm in a situation like this. Nursing homes are rife with elderly spirits that just cannot move on. This surveillance footage may have caught one of them. Posted to YouTube by RiceRV4 in September of 2012. This clip is surveillance footage of the Niles Nursing Center, as indicated by the sign in the hallway. The clip shows the elevator door drawing open with no one exiting. Then off to the right, what appears to be a cane slides across the floor in the hallway. It also moves to one side apparently on its own, before several people are seen passing through the hallway. And someone finally picks the cane up and places it out of harm's way, leaning it against the wall. The cane then disappears altogether without anyone making an appearance. YouTube commenters suggest that the ghost may have been trying to trip people with the placement of the cane. One commenter in particular, Siege Crows, suggests that they have some inside info on the case. He writes, "Super surprised that this got out after how hard the nurses and the people are trying to keep it a secret." In response to this, YouTuber Silent Night Crew states that he was an off-duty cop working security the night that this happened, and the man who leaked it was fired. Whether or not this is true, I think it's safe to say you wouldn't want to be working security when something like this happens. This quick EVP is a direct message from the beyond.
Have you guys done a lot of investigations? Have you guys done a lot of investigations?
I'm sure you'll hear it. There's a crystal clear male voice whispering, "Go away." No one in the room seems to notice it. I don't think there's much room for interpretation here. The spirit gave us an order, so we should probably listen. This seems like his one warning.
Have you guys done a lot of investigations?
Sometimes when you're looking for the past on, you find the living. Published by H.D. Adam in February of 2022. This paranormal crew faces off with a very angry, alive dude. While exploring what they think is an abandoned building, they first see this strange image reflected in a window. It looks like an angry face, but are we just imagining that? A minute later, the face remains. One of the crew goes to check an adjacent door. After finding it locked, he turns away. A moment later, something bangs loudly on the door. Continuing on, they open the door to another room and find this mysterious man sitting in the darkness. The man seems angry. He stands up and starts yelling at them. He tells the crew to get out of his house, and they are soon pushed out with force. Next time, they'd better be sure no one's home.
Çık lan dışarı çık. Yemiş evine, evinden çıkacağım zaten. Çık çık. Kadına sen yaptın lan çık oğlum çık. Dışarı çık. Çık dışarı çık lan.
This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. This video seems like just an image of a gator at the start, with its jaw wide open, staring blankly, completely motionless. But it's not a photo. That becomes clear when the camera zooms in closer to the gator's eye, and it starts backing up angrily, its jaw even wider. Then it goes berserk in the tunnel, clambering towards the camera, until the camera pulls away. The gator then approaches slowly, biting on a cord. After backing away again, the camera approaches the wide mouth, sharp-toothed creature once more. The eyes, the scales, the teeth. There's nothing about this that isn't chilling to the core. But what is a camera doing up close and personal down in a sewer anyway? Mike Kruger in the comments section of this video seems pretty knowledgeable on the subject. He wrote that the camera was doing a condition assessment of the storm sewer. He noted that behind the alligator, you can see the swamp. The tired gator simply clambered into the pipe to have a sewer nap, that is, until his nap was so rudely interrupted. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you while you slept? The truth is, they might be. A couple in Bucktown, Chicago, discovered an intruder had crept into their home to take their valuables and to watch them creepily as they snoozed on the sofa. He was captured on a security camera gazing at the couple, Jordan and Jack, from the upstairs balcony while they slept below on their couch during a Netflix binge. It was only when Jack said to his girlfriend, "Why are you at the top of the stairs wearing a white hoodie before we went to bed?" And she answered, "I wasn't at the top of the stairs," that the pair started to freak out. The intruder stood over them, watching for nearly 5 minutes the first go around. Then he went back to snooping through the couple's things, only to return and gaze at them for another 5 minutes. The intruder is believed to have burglarized other neighborhood homes. He managed to get into the house through their bedroom balcony door, which they left open. In fact, He was so light on his feet that the couple's dogs didn't even budge. They slept the whole while at their owner's feet. What valuables did he take? As it turns out, only Jordan's purse. In fact, this was the reason the couple watched the surveillance video in the first place. They'd gotten into an argument about where Jordan had left the purse. Jack suggested she'd forgotten it at the restaurant they'd gone to the previous night. Jordan insisted she'd brought it home. Moral of the story, binge watching Netflix is more unsafe than you'd think. Redditor Go Bartlett went apartment viewing, and what they spotted in the footage later gave them pause. Watch the walkthrough and see if you can spot it. Did you see it? Keep your eye on the far corner of the room, next to the window. It looks like a tentacle reaches out from the corner of the wall before disappearing a moment later. The Redditors in the comments had some thoughts. While the comments on this one are the usual mixed bag, I personally like to think something Stranger Things-esque is living in the walls here. I too would skip this one. The Jinn is back. That's right, the shape-shifting creature of Arabic mythology that is said to have the capacity to possess humans is yet again making an appearance in this clip. Hassan Barbar believes he's caught one on camera. Posted in January of 2020 on YouTube, he writes in Arabic, "I've never seen a jinn before." Outside of a stone building, the man captures something on film peering out at him from behind a palm tree. It pokes its head out briefly before drawing back into hiding. As he approaches the palm tree, you can hear movement coming from within it. He continues to wander around the premises until he starts to hear something swinging. Turning the camera towards the sound, he finds an old swing set. One swing flings back and forth, though no one is there to push it, nor does the night appear at all windy, as the trees remain unmoving. A short while later, when he is in front of the entryway to the building, a window pane slides closed. Again, it appears as though no one is there to close it. Do you believe in jinn? This video has me creeped out to the max. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.